great mark or a brilliant goal are obvious team motivators, but there are few ways to ignite a team better than to throw yourself across an opponent's boot to smother a kick. There are some things to work through when practicing your smothering. When you approach the kicker, bring your hands and arms out from hip level and keep them close together. Protect yourself by turning side on and step forward on the leg nearest the kicker. Bend at the knees, don't just lean forward as you lower your body position. You should aim to extend your arms and have your hands at about 45 degrees as you place them over the kicking boot. Your fingers and arms need to be nice and strong throughout the smother. Your head stays down, shielded by your leading arm and shoulder. Your aim should be to push down hard on the ball when it is on or has just left the kicker's boot. Naturally, you'll be guessing if you don't keep your eyes on the ball, so watch it at all times. It will take a little bit of courage, but with correct technique, you'll be protected and the rewards are great. There are good ways to build up to a full smother. Start by having someone perform an underarm, one-handed throw, which you smother. Progress to having a ball kicked off a small marker. When your confidence begins to lift, then introduce someone kicking the ball.
Gilbert just gets boot to ball, revolt the target, well done by Brown.
Lower, well, he won't get quite the right angle, but it might be a mark. Oh, well played. Brilliantly done.
Hi guys. Another vital defensive part of the game is a spoil. You'll usually be doing this when a player is trying to mark the ball in front of you. When trying to spoil a chest mark, you need to approach your opponent from your side. Knowing where he or she is, you need to make sure that you have your eyes focused on the ball. Your aim is to stretch your arm into the path of the ball of the would-be marker and punch it away before it reaches them. When trying to spoil the overhead mark, the aim is again to use long arms by stretching as far as you can and with a strong clenched fist, getting to the ball before it reaches the hands of your opponent. Remember that you should be aiming to time your run as though you're trying to take the mark. Make sure that you time your leap to spoil so that you reach the ball at your highest point. Be mindful all the time that contacting the opponent's back or across their neck or head or deliberately interfering with their arms must be avoided at all costs. Again, eyes on the ball and you should be right.
This will stretch the hammies early. Armitage is gone.
Hello everyone, it's time to take you through tackling. Another great defensive skill and an integral part of our game.
We'll focus on 3 tackles, from behind, from the side and from the front. When tackling from behind, you need to perform the drop tackle. In effect, you need to run the player down, focus on the player's waist so you're not fooled by any tricks. Tackle from behind, ideally with your arms wrapped around the elbows or arms, and simply drop to your knees, attempting to spin the player to the side. If you come straight at the player from behind and make contact with their back, the chances are you'll push them and give away a free kick. Unless you follow the correct technique, the secret is to tackle, drop, spin. Also, make sure your head is to one side of the player with the ball. Then concentrate on wrapping up the player in a tackle just above the elbows. Make sure the tackle isn't above the shoulders or below the knees. Drop your weight, perhaps even lean back as you would tackle to avoid any suggestion of a push in the back. Once the tackle is laid, try and spin the player off balance to either win a free kick or make the ball spill free.
The next tackle we'll focus on is the tackle from the front. Approach the player who has the ball with your eyes on his waist and his hips as the main target area. Make sure your head is positioned to either side of the ball carrier and that you tuck your chin into your chest. You should be aiming to make initial contact with your arms and shoulders. Your aim is to pin the arms of the ball carrier while they are still in possession and then try to wrestle them off balance. Once you feel as though you have a good hold, use your own body weight to slow down their progress, or use their body weight and momentum to spin them to the ground. Either way, try to get your head to the side so that there won't be any danger of being accidentally hit.
The final tackle is called the hook tackle, which we perform when tackling from the side. Approach the player from the side. Reach across the player's chest with your leading arm, attempting to tackle just above the elbows. Allow their body weight and momentum to take them forward. As this happens, wrap your other arm behind the player, placing your head into the small of their back. Drop your own weight, as for the drop tackle, and spin the player to the ground. Again, the tackle involves wrap, drop, spin. Begin your practice sessions on a partner standing still and merely walk your way through the techniques before you start practicing on a moving target. If you have access to soft ground or even gym mats, use these to fall on. Remember, when tackling, you must tackle below the shoulders and above the knees.
Kick smothered by Wells, Swallow, bumped on the kick, good bump, legal bump. Maguire, big bump on Harwood.
Let's move on to another important and physical aspect of our game, the art of bumping. You can only bump an opponent when they are within 5 metres of the ball. Keep that in mind at all times. To bump, we use our side, including our shoulder, arm and hip. You want to lean toward your opponent, pushing hard from the foot furthest away from the person you want to bump. The arm needs to stay bent with your elbow tucked into the side of your body the whole time. You should be aiming to make contact with your opponent with your shoulder and upper arm, and should be trying to bump them side on between their knees and shoulders.
It is really important that you don't make contact with your opponent's head, as this could cause serious damage. Of course, you also need to protect your own head at all times and make sure that you always have your feet on the ground when bumping. The perfectly timed bump will be delivered when your opponent is off balance. A good way to get a feel of the correct bump is to get a teammate to bump into you while you do the same to them. Often, AFL players will do this as a part of their pre-game warm-up.
And you can see Revolt running there. He's talking to him and he's saying, keep going, I'll look after you.
Shepherding is another of the great team-oriented skills that often go unnoticed by fans, but are loved by teammates and coaches. The aim of a shepherd is to keep a tackler away from a teammate who has the ball in their possession. You perform the shepherd by using your arms and your body to produce a barrier between the tackler and your teammate. To do this, stretch your arms out and keep them below shoulder level. If they stray higher, they may make contact above the tackler's shoulders, and that will be a free kick against you. You also need to make sure the ball is no more than 5 metres away from you, otherwise it'll be a free kick against you as well.